Hi Hinsters, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome too. Do give this video a thumbs up if you like what I do, and subscribe to the channel. Hope you're well. This is another video, and today we're talking about Venus in Virgo and Mars in Scorpio. Let us get straight into it. I hope you're having a nice Libra new moon weekend, solar eclipse weekend, and let me this time show this slideshow full screen from the beginning. Okay. So Venus in Virgo and Mars in Scorpio. I thought I would do both of these together, and the dates, by the way, are for Venus, October 10th to November 9th or November 10th, and for Mars, October 13th to November 25th, around about then. That's the dates, my loves. And I think one of the first things I wanted to ask you guys, your Hinsters, is which houses do you have these four signs in? Aries, Taurus, Libra, and Scorpio, because they are the four houses that these planets together rule in your chart. So these are the four houses where themes are going to be more activated or amplified or experienced as Venus and Mars make these transits, but as they also sextile each other. They're making this very special aspect called the sextile, and that is like an aspect that is ruled by Venus, but I think we're going to talk about that a bit later. Are we? Yes, we are. Yeah. So Mars, what I noticed about this transit, by the way, this transit is kind of spanning from like Libra season through to Scorpio into Sagittarius seasons. It's kind of a longish period, a nice chunk of the year. And one thing I noticed is that during Mars's transit through Scorpio, Mars will be kind of chasing the sun and conjunct or together with the sun for a wee while. And that's quite fiery and exciting. And also what I read is like big themes of impulse, the sun rules, affirmations. So there could be a lot more of these really intense sort of pent up desires and impulses that just get the green light from the sun during that time. That's definitely once we're in Scorpio season that we can get these green light affirmations. Although Scorpio season, I will say, is a shadow season, and so we ought to take extra care with our actions if we can help it, where we can help it. And also I have the theme of embarrassment here as well, because Mars right now is in Scorpio, which is the domicile of Mars. I'll talk about that in a bit. But what I think basically from now, as I film this video, which is like the 14th of October, from this date as well, basically, Scorpio energies will be much more activated, and Mars will be in a much better position to do what Mars wants to do, having been in Libra in his detriment. And now it's like Mars can actually act more on things like revenge, or pursue vendettas, or pursue also something with a very burning, ardent passion, to really also throw oneself into something super intensely, or to want to really rip something apart to see what's there, or to really dig or drag something up to see what's there. There can be a lot of investigation during this time in some sense, and a lot of penetration in all the senses. And then, of course, when the Sun and Mars get closer and closer, I think embarrassment is going to come for some of us in some ways, because the Sun, while it is the ruler of affirmations, it's also like an illuminator, and it kind of sheds a lot of light on whatever Mars is doing or has been doing in Scorpio. So that's going to be quite interesting. Do let me know in the comments once Mars and the Sun get closer for you, like what is going on in your Scorpio house. It's my 5th house, and the 5th house, by the way, includes such themes as casual romance and sex, love, pleasure, fun, children, joy, pets as well. I actually put pets in the 5th house. And yeah, so let me know how Scorpio season becomes for you. Now let's move on to Venus then. And Venus actually is the ruler of cycles and circles. So I read in this that by now we are immediately made aware when we are deliberately or carelessly breaking away from beneficial cycles. And this is stuff like, when you quit or you never used to smoke at all, you start doing it, or you start doing it again, and it's like you suddenly get this weird feeling in your body. Venus and Virgo, listen to your body. It's like it should be like that, like oh yeah or oh no, like this is like stupidly in some of our cases going back into something that it is not good for us or was not good for us, and as soon as we do, we're reminded, oh yeah. This could be many things, like drinking, like I don't know, gorging on snacks or a certain food which makes you break out. This is like coffee, and also this is like going back to toxic cycles of being a busybody or a boffin in some sense, or like just someone who what's the word? I can't remember the word now. If I do, I'll say it. But a job's worth, yes, being a job's worth. Venus and Virgo can make us become that or encounter that kind of thing. But as I said, it's kind of instantaneous because we do have this special dialogue also going on between Venus and Mercury, this mutual reception. So I think those kind of stupid returns to stupid things will be immediately made aware to us. Your lungs, your liver, whatever is going to respond, especially your skin as well. It could respond in very inflamed ways. This is like hives and certain pox, and Mars rules these things like burns and scabs and rashes and inflammation. And because Mars and Venus are sextiling, it's so easy for that to come about for some of us. Also, Venus, yes, is the ruler of sextiles. This is like all things being sort of set to happen. And as I just mentioned in this video before, we have Venus and Mars sextiling as well. So Venus in the very aspect that she actually rules. So I quite like this. And also Venus and Mars doing this kind of dance, they are kind of expressing what I've called here tempestuous tectonics. So something, as always with Mars and Venus when they come together, something very tempestuous, something very hot and cold all at once, but also tectonics in the way that things under the surface are moving and rumbling. Trouble is a brewing, or something exciting is a bubbling, and just waiting to burst like lava. out of a volcano. This is very like Scorpio type stuff as well coming through. And I think it's easy for us to think, feel, or to say like excruciatingly accurate things with this particular sextile. And this can be stuff like hurtful comments, whether that's to ourselves and or others. This is also the alchemy of pleasures and the alchemy of pains and stuff like no pain, no gain, and like fashion is pain. And this kind of stuff can really come to the surface or can be made more acute or intense or gnarly even, or insidious even in some sense. And also Venus is said to fall in Virgo, and a fall can create more difficult things for sure. It can also create things that are just done differently. But what I'm getting for this particular Venus and Virgo transit is stuff like humble housekeeping and course correcting. And because Venus is sextiling Mars, there's going to be a lot more motivation, drive, feeling pushed to do these things. And like also shame is going to come up, I think, for some, like feeling ashamed about where we are falling in some sense. And this is also stuff like just very simple stuff. Like if you have something very dirty in your house that you've been neglecting for weeks or months, maybe even longer, like it's just like clean that shit. Is like do it. Clean your buds, clean, I don't know, like rinse your ears out, like behind your ears, like rinse your razor, sterilize your razor, sterilize those bottles, like whatever, like wipe down the surfaces, scrub the oven, scrub them tiles. Like this can be an aspect that really just encourages us to get down and dirty in many different ways. I think there can be a lot of horny harlots as well with this kind of transit. Scorpio season is infamously a horny season. But also, yeah, feeling ashamed about where we're falling short in some sense, and also about overwhelm. Like something can creep up, kind of like acid reflux almost with this Martian transit, like realizing in a very visceral way that we have taken on too much in some sense or in some area, and having to do some kind of cleanup or make some snippies. Virgo is one of the, as well as Scorpio, they are actually both quite snippy, especially Virgo. And Venus, then being in Virgo, is going to make the vibe, interestingly, more snippy. Which is cool, right? In Libra season as well, and in Scorpio season, it's nice to, I think, keep some of that snippy energy, keep things tidy and correct. And also, we're still getting this theme of the divinity in the decision while Venus is transiting Virgo. So really doing this kind of spiritual housekeeping and course correcting, like, oh, I've been going the wrong way. Let me swerve back to the right track. And let me still keep paying attention to the answers I give to people's questions, how I respond to opportunities presented. Let me keep poring over the decision a little bit. And also, just a little note on Lilith. So we do have Lilith in Virgo as well, while these transits are going on, or at least at the beginning. And this is like deciding not to be walked all over. And this is a kind of friendly but firm assertion with Lilith here. Mars then. So I mentioned Mars is in his domicile in Scorpio, or what I call roosting in Scorpio, especially, or rather, Mars is roosting in the house that it rules, where you have Scorpio. So it's like the landlord has come to the house that they are the landlord of. Um, and which means a lot of the time that Mars has much more power or much more of a say, or is much more strongly conversing with or amplifying some theme in your Scorpio house. And I have a lot of things for this Mars in Scorpio transit, but like this is stuff like fighting spirits, spiritual precautions, protecting yourself more, or feeling like you need to be careful of paranoia though. This is stuff like here in Korea, stuff like red rice cakes that I recently learned people would buy when a new room or building is erected, and these rice cakes would be bought. These red ones would be bought to ward off ghosts and to kind of protect the space, to kind of bring good fortune to the space in that sense. And even from Libra season, some of us might have been experiencing from the autumn equinox some of this, because this is also the autumn equinox when Samhain begins, when it is said that the veil, if you like, is the thinnest, and it is an interesting time. But even, yes, from Libra season, some of us may have been feeling more in touch with the spooky things, the spiritual things, through dreams or visions, and especially if we're more intoxicated than usual, there can be more of this slipping into different dimensions. And this is also stuff like with Mars in Scorpio, like really wanting to learn more about things like this. So like connecting with the paranormal, or trying to find out how powerful your gifts are when it comes to intuiting things like ghosts or the dead, and interacting with ancestors, ancestral rites as well, that kind of thing. And like how many in Taiwan, for example, I know they have in a Taiwanese astrology system of points, and if you have more points, you're kind of less likely to see ghosts or be bothered by ghosts, and if you have less points, then you're more susceptible to interactions. And also, like, just with Mars and Scorpio, this is like keep your head down type of thing. Like, keep doing it, just get the heck on with it. Mars and Scorpio is kind of like someone furiously working out at the gym, but now like way more than they were before even. And this is the rabbit year, so we can have a lot of gym bunny explosions during this month, or during Mars's transit through Scorpio. And as I said before, Mars is like pox and inflammation, and with this sextile, then we can get also this need to look at our skin, or inside, even if we have like stomach inflammation, things like ulcers as well, and think about how to fight or cut off or sever these things. And in a way, this Venus and Virgo, Mars and Scorpio sextile, for me, it's kind of like again, it's circles and cycles and rolling. And I just have this image of, like, those stone kind of skin therapy roller things. I don't know if they have a proper word, but like there's certain stones, crystals that you can roll on your skin. This type of thing is easy to access or easy to use during this transit. Like rolling things to make them better or shinier or glowing. softening of things. Venus often introduces a softening of scars, maybe a smoothing of the skin, easing sores that you might have or bites. Mars, as I mentioned on my channel before, Mars has been going through my fourth house in Libra, and I just had this barrage of mosquito attacks. Lots of bites. Not nice, but very Mars in the fourth house. Okay, let's move on to the rabbit year just briefly. So this, speaking of circles and cycles of time, this is in some tellings of the rabbit year in Chinese astrology, we have this story of the rabbit not heeding. It's not that the rabbit doesn't heed a routine, but doesn't heed the right routine or approach the routine in the right ways. So Venus and Virgo as well, and because of that, develops an attraction to its routine and an attraction from the wrong person. Mars and Scorpio, we get the wolf spirit coming through. So it's like learning how to actually reap the most holistic benefits from our routine and not just be in a routine mindlessly or like a zombie. And in this story of the rabbit, the rabbit was just munching and munching away at the grass every day, every time, and eventually the grass disappeared, and the rabbit's own home was exposed because there was no more grass to hide it, really, or camouflage it. And this was noticed by the wolf, and the wolf chased and bit off the long tail that the rabbit once had. And because of that, now the rabbit's tail is more short and like a little button, right? And it's very interesting because the rabbit wasn't even aware of the Chinese zodiacal race to the emperor's banquet. The rabbit was literally being chased by this wolf and just so happened to cross the finish line and then find out that it was actually in this race. And so there's a lot about paying close attention to our routines, our cycles, and our circles, and who or what we might be attracting, and kind of also knowing and learning the benefits of laying low. Such a rabbit year thing, but also a very Mars and Scorpio thing, flying under the radar, being more like a submarine in some sense. Also, we get things like cutting down with Venus in Virgo sextiling Mars. Like this could be cutting down trees, throwing out plants, being more destructive, or throw away with things. It can be, again, going back to housekeeping, it can be a good time to throw away clothes you don't wear anymore. Being more minimalistic in some sense for some people, that kind of thing. I also wanted to talk just briefly about listening with this sextile between Venus and Mars, because yes, there's this tempestuous connection that they have, and I think that's actually beneficial sometimes because it can bring about this need for compassion when there's something that kind of gets on our nerves, and trying to bring about solutions, such a Libra season thing, solutions or rational understandings. And with teaching, for example, there's almost always a legitimate reason why a student or a kid is acting out. Of course, you have the rare exceptions where they're just kind of quote unquote evil and there's really nothing that can be done. But the majority have a reason that we can actually get to the bottom. In Mars and Scorpio, get to the bottom of. We can actually get to the bottom of it. We can hunt the reason. And also, this is also meanness and mean-spirited people, nasty people, shady people. People are like this. They are mean because of their insecurities, or because they're miserable, or because they're unhappy. And that's also something we can realize with this transit, I think. And also like listening to what is being written or reading, right? And writing this, I think, in this time, especially because we have a rabbit year, this is like getting deep in the cyber or the forums or the rabbit holes, and kind of, this is like hot in Korean. They have this expression tiki taka, so people who are able to talk back and forth, they've got good gab, and they can talk like a tennis match, and this can really get heated up and exciting, and there can be more of these types of interaction on social media as well. Dating apps could become more used. Also, I get this sense of like sex in the temple or like forbidden dalliances during this transit, or like celebrating in some sense the sexual and the sensual, and kind of just boinging around like a horny bunny, or playboy, playgirl, plaything, play NB, like whatever, and just kind of vibing with it, and that's nice. Finally, then, I wanted to talk about this expression in Korean, which is 수고하세요, often translating as work hard, please work hard. It is kind of a greeting that is often used when you leave a restaurant or you leave a shop and you want to kind of say goodbye. You would quite literally say, please work hard. And it's interesting because in Libra season, we can find these kinds of interaction weird, or to wish hard work or labor onto someone as weird. But I think with Mars and Venus now interacting much more intensely, this is like working hard, being prized. This is like passion, returning, coming back for some people. And this is like torrid, this Gallic concept of energy from something that you make or you create, and you give a piece of that to nature or to a stranger. And there's also close connections linguistically to the word for berry when it comes to hard work, and like the fruits as well of labor. So I think for some of us, these themes will crop up, like graft being a beautiful thing, like really appreciating someone who sweats their teeth off, doing whatever they are doing. A lot of the time in Mars and Scorpio will just really amplify this, but Scorpio season in general is when people shave off their beards for charity, or for testicular cancer they will do something, or they will go on a really long marathon for charity. So we will see that, I think, even more amplified than usual in Scorpio season. And I think there's something often at this time where we want to find the beauty in the torture or the pain, but at the same time, especially right now as we're still in Libra season, it can feel kind of rude to praise struggle, or it can, even for some people, it can seem like really like undesirable, like, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to wear that while I do that honorable deed. I'd rather wear something sexy or something like befitting of my figure. But it's like, no, you're going on a charity run, you don't need to wear something fancy or expensive. Like, I think even still in Libra season, we can have sometimes these kind of reservations. That's a very Libran word. Reservations. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I think I hope you have a beautiful rest of the Libra season, and that your Mars and Virgo experiences, or sorry, your Mars and Venus experiences are grand. Let me know in the comments how things are going for you. and where you have those 4 signs, Taurus, Aries, Libra, and Scorpio, in your birth chart. I'd love to hear from you and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.